Hello everyone and welcome back to Mircea's Mission. Today I will do something a bit different than my usual videos, and that is I will do a cooking video. This has been requested by one of my viewers, so you know who you are, this goes out to you. The dish I will cook today is called Ciulama de Ciuperci. It is a Romanian dish, however the roots of it are found in Turkish cuisine. The ciulama is usually made either with meat, mainly poultry, or mushrooms, and today we will do the mushroom version, and it is done in a white sauce. So let's get into it. Okay, so for this dish you will need only a few ingredients. One would be one onion which I've already chopped over here, and I chopped it fairly finely because I don't really like big pieces of mushroom in my ciulama. You will need 3 tablespoons of sour cream, 1 tablespoon of flour, about 200 milliliters of milk, then about 2 tablespoons of butter. However, if you do not have butter, you could use regular oil, some garlic, about 2 cloves of garlic, and again, if you don't have fresh garlic, you could use garlic powder. And then you will need about 500 grams of mushrooms. These are the champignon type, however you could use any type of meaty type mushrooms, not the woodier mushroom, something that is very gelatinous or a dried one, unless you rehydrate them. And last but not least, you will need some dill, but I don't particularly like the taste of dill in this dish, so that it would be optional for you. Okay, so on a really low fire, we will put quite a big pot on, and then, like I said, about 2 tablespoons of butter. If you do not have the butter, you could substitute it for oil. I am doing this first. My onion is already chopped, so I will drop it all inside. Well, I said all of it, although not all of it went in, but hey. Okay, there we are. While the butter is melting and the onions are turning a golden color, we will start chopping the mushrooms. Okay, the mushrooms, you can cut them 2 different ways. I will just separate them first. You put the upper part over here, and you could either cut them in cubes, or you could just cut them as quite fine slices. What I will do over here, I will cut the stems in cubes, and then the heads, the upper part, I will cut them quite finely, okay, in slices. Okay, now because I'm doing this fairly fast, I don't really worry that much about my onions. There we are. So I'll just transfer this back over here, and then I will just start cutting them. Oh, that is gone. Okay, so what I will do with this, I will just, like I said, cut them in sort of cubes. What else you could do on this type of mushroom, you could just press on it, and then you can break them off. That way it's going to be even faster. Yeah, so let's do it this way. Once you do it this way, it already breaks into pieces, which is pretty much what you want. The reason why you need also fairly small pieces is to give flavor to the ciulama, and then you will need some bigger pieces just to have some body for it. Now the ciulama is a rustic dish, so don't bother to make sure that everything is exactly the same dimension. Yeah, you don't really need that. As long as the slices are fairly thin so that it cooks roughly at the same time, then you're okay. Okay, so once we are done with this, we will turn our attention to the onions. Just turn it around. That is why I said that you do not need to worry that much about them. As long as they are on small fire and you are fairly fast, then all should be okay. They haven't even reached the yellow part yet, so we still have a bit of time. So you want the onions to turn a bit golden or yellow, and once that is done, then we will put in the mushrooms. Now mushrooms, they will leave some liquid, so once that is done, then the onion will not turn yellow anymore. That's why we first need to reach that stage, and then we will put the mushrooms in. Okay, we are reaching that stage, so now we can go ahead and put the mushrooms in. Let's make sure we don't make a mess again. Now remember, at the beginning you will be needing quite a big pot because the mushrooms, they have quite a bit of volume. However, after you have cooked them a bit, they will lose a lot of their initial volume, so you will be left with only a bit. There we are. Clean this as well, and then we'll just give it a stir. You go in. Okay, now they are starting to cook. As you can see, they already started to lose some of their moisture, some of their liquid, and it's already a lot less than the way it was pretty full when we started it, when we just put them on, right? So we'll continue to do this up until there will be no more liquid whatsoever. Okay, so we've put milk over here, and then we will put a tablespoon of flour, and since I am using the garlic powder, I am going to put the garlic powder in here as well. About this much. Okay, now You need to mix this well and make sure it doesn't really have lumps. A much easier way would have been to have the flour and the garlic powder in, and then put just a bit of milk inside and mix it well, and then add a bit more milk and so on. But hey, we're doing it very rustic, I said, right? So let's just make sure that we beat it up well, and any lumps that there are, we are going to break them apart. Also try to keep an eye on the mushrooms. Let me bring you over. As you can see over here, they left liquid. Okay, so we will cook them down up until there is no more of that liquid. Now, if you feel it is taking too long for all the liquid to evaporate, you could increase a bit the flame, and that should help with evaporating. So what this actually does, evaporating all the liquid, it intensifies the mushroom flavor. We are getting there, it's not much longer. You also need to make sure that this liquid is almost entirely evaporated, otherwise it's going to be too much liquid, and including the milk that we put in, the flour may not be enough to make it as a sauce. So if you leave too much liquid in, you might have to add additional flour. But then the entire dish is going to get a floury taste. So I advise just be patient a bit, make sure all the liquid evaporates, and then everything is going to be fine. As you can see now, the liquid is almost gone completely. It starts to foam up, so that means that this is going to start sticking. So what you need to do now is, if you have increased the fire, make sure you put it down on fairly low. Okay. Give your milk and flour a final mix, and then put it in. Now I haven't mixed well enough, so I just put another teaspoon of milk in, just to make sure that there is no more flour on the bottom of it, and pour it in. Now at this stage it is going to start to thicken up, which is actually what we want, and that is how you know that you have made a good ciulama. And as you can see, the thickening happened fairly quickly. Okay, so at this stage we are going to put in the sour cream. There we are. Mix it well. So obvious, with all that cream it has become very creamy. And this would be the point where you would put in the dill, as well as you will make sure that it is salty enough. That would be it. Then I will show it to you how it is going to be served.